It is football season as the Denver Broncos will host rookie minicamp down there at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit. Today and tomorrow. Cecil Lammey, Andrew Mason will be there tomorrow. They'll get to hear from Sean Payton and go in the locker room and, for the first time, hear from these rookies.
Yeah.
How much are you looking forward to that, my guy?
I am very much looking forward to that because all of these guys were leaders, were captains, were players that their teams could rely on. Jahdae Barron starting first and foremost. I mean, you talk about an incredible human, an incredible person. That sort of leadership, strong quality, the mentality, the driver behind what he wants in his success, that makes him a special, special player. So being able to talk to kids basically like that are so focused, it tells you the foundation is right.
And to be fair, Barron did have a press conference here in Denver where he was really good because we heard the story about how he wanted to be put on speakerphone to thank everyone because they changed his life, his mom's life, his siblings' life. He just seems like a guy who gets it. He gets it. And I think with rookies, half the time they do get it, and half the time you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
This guy was the big man on campus, and he has no idea what's coming his way in the NFL.
This is a job right now, and that's the difference is this is now your job. This is not just something you're really good at and you play in the Big 12 and whatever. Like, you got to be great. And I believe Barron, Harvey, Bryant, those are the three players to focus on, the top three. There are others, but just being able to talk to them, kind of get a picture in my mind's eye of how they'll fit in with this team. What do they look like on the field? I mean, point blank period, RJ Harvey should be a blur out there. And I've predicted when neither you or I are totally addicted to Twitter, on Saturday, you know what we're going to get? Oh my God, RJ Harvey with the... And we really can't take anything away from a running back because there's no live tackling. So it's not like he's out there going to be breaking tackles. But some sort of screen pass, boom, he takes it to the house on a 7-on-7 thing. All right, I could see that going kind of viral in Broncos Twitter.
Well, and speed is one of those things, when you see it in real life, you know it. And that's what you may get a chance to see is we can talk about 40 times and burst and miles per hour and this and that.
Right.
You've watched enough football in your life, your own two eyes. If he does catch some sort of wheel route and goes, you're going to be able to come back and tell Josh on Monday, oh my gosh, he's got wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Or not quite as fast as I expected, because there is something about seeing it right there where you will know that guy's got the burst to make it in the NFL, or I wish I had seen a little bit more.
Well, and also, comparatively speaking, and I'm making an assumption, but I think it's a pretty good one, I think Blake Watson's going to be out there. So as someone
kind of a forgotten name, if we're being fair.
Yeah, and someone who I'm very familiar with Blake Watson's game. And Blake Watson could honestly be the starter for this team. He's got a huge road in front of him because he's buried on the depth chart, probably mostly bound for another team or a practice squad. So I'm going to compare him to Blake Watson. They should be on the field together in the same drills. And if Harvey doesn't look vastly different from Blake Watson, I think that's a problem. If Blake Watson looks better than Harvey, I know, rookie minicamp, I still think that's going to be a problem. So watch it with a trained eye and just be prepared that on social networking we're going to get a bunch of, whoa, RJ Harvey and a big speed. Like, yeah, it's practice. Running backs, we can't. Pat Bryant, we could, because he will have defenders that will be fighting him for the ball. And Pat Bryant, when there's a 50-50 ball, that's his. It's not 50-50 with Pat Bryant.
So explain to us why you're so high on Pat Bryant, because when the pick came out, it seemed like there was a collective groan of, ugh, I've never heard of that guy. Not you, but most fans.
Sure.
And then a lot of people saying, whoa, we had a 5th round grade on Pat Bryant. We had a 4th round. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly in the last 2 weeks, the narrative has shifted. No, there was actually 6, 7, 8 teams that wanted Pat Bryant.
Yeah.
And the Broncos jumped the line. It seemed like you sort of recognized this from the start. I can't remember a player getting drafted to the reaction being kind of a collective groan to all of a sudden, what are we, exactly 2 weeks later since Pat Bryant got drafted? People being really excited. Sort of explain how all that happened to me.
Because you don't need to sell it. I'll go back to the Montreal Washington thing. You remember the sell job on that thing. Well, Russell Wilson picked him out, and I know he played at Sanford, but whatever. He had the one game against Florida. That was immediate.
People were like, go watch the YouTube of not Stanford. Samford against Florida. And it was like, okay, he made a play against an SEC team.
Right.
And Russ, like, did Russ watch the same YouTube video we all watched?
Probably.
And told George Payton, hey, draft this kid?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that sell job was immediate. I was the only one seemingly fighting that. Now with this one, people are jumping on because I guess the YouTube scouts are catching up, right? And full disclosure, and seeing Pat Bryant at the Senior Bowl, I said he'll give someone some value on day 3. Broncos took him in day 2. Okay, what do they see? Now, again, it's back to fit. When RJ Harvey was picked, I was like, man, I really want Devin Neal. I really want Omarion Hampton. He's staring at you right there at 20. They take RJ Harvey, and then you go, oh, Sean, this is Sean's draft. Pat Bryant was Sean's pick. He wants to use him in the Michael Thomas role? Whoa, that can work. So it is the fit. It's, 1, people not knowing Bryant before the draft. But then 2, when the pick comes in, it's like, who? And then people go, oh, Sean Payton wants to, he said Michael Thomas. I know what that looks like. And you match it up to what Pat Bryant is right now. He can run routes. And I don't want to sound like a, I don't know, whatever I sound like, a fanboy or whatever. But, like, it's so rare for college receivers. You said it earlier. When you're in college, just out-athlete everybody.
Exactly.
I'm just faster than everybody. I'm just stronger than everybody. He knows, because he's not fast, he already knows how to run routes, and it's a very rare trait for a young player.
No, it's great. I'm excited to see your report on Bryant, excited to see your report on Harvey, and I'm glad you mentioned that both those two were Sean Payton picks, because a lot of geniuses out there love to tell me, look how good of GM George Payton is all of a sudden. It's like, guys, the correlation of George being a good GM is exactly when Sean got here, and Sean's the GM, right? Look at George before Sean Payton. He had a couple home run picks, but he had a lot of really bad decisions. So just a little side note, maybe Zach and Phil are listening when they drive in, but there is a correlation here. George has become a better GM since Sean has become the GM. Let's talk about Barron, though, because he's the first rounder that shocked everyone. What is his role? How will the Broncos use him? Because there's a lot of Riley Moss fans out there that didn't understand this pick. Like, wait, I thought Riley was our corner opposite Pat Surtain.
Yeah.
How does Barron fit in, and is Riley Moss's job in trouble?
What was the old song? You can have whatever you like.
That was T.I., baby. Yeah.
Okay, T.I. See, I knew you'd know that. That's what Barron is. What do you need, nickel? What do you need, outside? You need safety? You can have whatever you like. Yeah, that's exactly who Barron is. It's going to be interesting to see where they start him at and to see if that's where he is learned at the position, whether it's outside corner, slot corner, or maybe some sort of hybrid safety. He did play in Texas the Star. It's basically the rover, the joker, the movable chess piece that you have defensively in the secondary. So where is he at? What does he get trained on the most? And then do they dabble and experiment with him at different positions? Or is he just dabbling all over the place right at the beginning? We don't yet know. We're going to find out on Saturday.
So you're telling me Barron is stacks on deck, Patron on ice, and we can pop bottles all night? That's what this guy is?
Yeah.
Whatever you like.
Right.
Whatever you like.
Right.
I mean, I'd take stacks on deck and Patron on ice.
Patron on ice is pretty good. I'm a straight tequila guy, as everybody knows, and I rarely drink anymore. But if I do, a little straight Patron, little Casamigos, whatever.
Well, and just to be clear, stacks on deck is money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stacks of money.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't saying something inappropriate. I think he's talking you can have a lot of money,
yes,
stacks of cash,
right,
and Patron on ice.
I don't know. We can say whatever. Ty was talking about Mike Evans' cuckold chair, so I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, I would have let that one evaporate into the universe, but you went there. All right.
Stacks on deck is fine, baby.
There we go. The CU Buffs want to make the college football playoff next year. That much